Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is our Irish cream, Noclip's Adeoye Jr.
I was wondering if you'd say it, Bless.
Oh, I'm
Appreciate it,
saying it.
man.
Welcome, man. Nice to have you back.
Yeah, thanks so much. Nice to be here. Nice to finally collaborate with you. We've never gotten to do the damn thing, so
Yeah,
this
it's
should
our
be fun.
first time hosting on a show together. I'm very excited. I'm very
Yeah.
happy because I got to let you know, I am such a big Adeoye Jr. fan. I don't know if I've told you this in the past, but like The Point, GameSpot's The Point, one of my favorite video series,
Oh,
like
dude,
having to do with
thanks.
video games. Period. I was
That's
such a big fan of The Point.
You're too kind. If I can even take 2% credit for the blessing show, I'll be very, very
Oh,
proud of
dude,
myself.
legit. I don't think the Blessing Show happens without The Point. The Blessing Show for me was the idea of like, hey, I want to do something like that. I want to have an editorial series, and Tim Gettys was nice enough to be like, oh yeah, let's do it. And so yeah, no, thanks for that inspiration. I very much appreciate that. But tabling that aside, tell me, like, how's Noclip doing? What's
Good.
what's going on in the world of Noclip?
Good, man. Well, like it's all cyclical, right? Because Noclip doesn't exist without Kind of Funny, because Kind of Funny was first through the wall with all the Patreon stuff, and kind of, I was like, wait, they can leave IGN, that means I can leave GameSpot. But it's been good. It's been like 4.5 years now. Right now, we have a bunch of projects going on. We just put out a video on Astro's Playroom, and sort of how that came together with the DualSense controller. We're currently working on. We have a new series coming out called Greatest Hits, which is something we've never done before, where it's a retrospective show that's voted on by our patrons. So I think the cutoff point was 15 years. We said it had to be an old ass game, and then no matter what, we have to turn around a documentary in 6 weeks. So we have to try and figure out, like, if we can interview the developers, who in the community we should interview, and then piece it together. So our episode, the first ever one on Roller Coaster Tycoon, is coming out in about 8 or 9 days now. So we're pretty much deep in that one at the moment.
How big of an undertaking is that? Because I know for us, for the Blessing Show, I think that's been a fun learning experience. Has been like each episode. It's 2 weeks between episodes, which for us is barely enough time, right? Like it is the writing, it is the research for some of the videos, it is the interviews, and it is Roger doing the editing. And for to turn around a documentary in what it was 6 weeks about,
yeah,
like is that how stressful is that?
I think the remote stuff has been a blessing and a curse. In respect to this one, it means that we can, because geography was always our problem, because we'd have to book the flights, go somewhere, and then do all that sort of stuff. Whereas this way we can, we've a little bit more nimbleness. The biggest problem we've had is getting developers to talk to us. On this one, it's a particular nightmare, because the guy who made Roller Coaster Tycoon is like, he does not do many interviews, and he basically like left the games development world like 20 years ago. So trying to craft a narrative around this game without maybe having some of those key figures has been tricky. But I feel for you, dude. When we did The Point, at one stage it was weekly, and it was just like,
I couldn't imagine.
It was we did one episode that was about us trying to get an episode out that week. It was like we had 3 hours left in the day to do it, so we did like it was like live to tape, basically. The show was, and like people hated it.
That is fantastic. Now, you guys recently had some changes to your Patreon. I saw you guys put up a video a couple weeks ago talking about how you guys are reconfiguring it to kind of keep up with where the company is at. What have been the biggest changes to Noclip?
Thanks, man, for bringing that up. It's been a crazy couple of months over here. The biggest thing that happened was we kind of we started to do kind of what you guys really I think were the first people I know that focused on community and like making programming specifically for our patrons, which is something we tried not to do when it came to the docs, right? Because the docs are supposed to be game preservationist and open to everyone, and we don't put ads on them, and we don't, we tried to get them in as many languages as possible. That's kind of like the archive.org side of the endeavor. But to try and get people to basically to get our average patronage up as well, and to build a community around the stuff we did, we started a bunch of shows that aren't docs but are hopefully people still enjoy. So we have like a monthly podcast now, which is Patreon exclusive. We just put episode up yesterday. We do a show called Edit Club, where I basically show the timelines of the projects and like show my editing techniques and that sort of stuff. And the weirdest one we have is a new show called Location Scout, where I basically like go on a day trip with one of our cameras and film a bunch of B-roll somewhere. But it's also like a travel show. So the next one I'm doing like an overnight car camp up in Mendocino County, because like
that's awesome.
The whole idea was to basically get out of the house because like COVID, we're all going crazy. We live in California. When it's not on fire, it's beautiful here. Let's go out and, just do a sort of a weird avant-garde travel show. So that's the other one. So It's been cool. People seem to enjoy them, and we enjoy making them, which is the most important thing.
That's super awesome. If people want to support that, they can of course go to patreon.com/Noclip, show Danny and the team all the love.
You're too
kind.
But
for now, let's talk about PlayStation accidentally leaking PS Plus Video Pass, free-to-play games on Xbox finally being free-to-play, and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. To be a part of the show, at the patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you: a new episode of the Kind of Funny Games cast is now live, and it's us rating our hype levels for every single game with a release date coming in 2021. You can catch that on YouTube and on podcast services around the globe. And it wasn't until after the episode where I realized that we forgot to talk about a game called Necromunda Hired Gun, which I am very excited about. They dropped a trailer today, which we might watch in the post show, because it's a very, very hyped trailer. Oh, dude, yeah. Necromunda Hired Gun. I think it might be part of the Warhammer universe. I'm not too sure. All I know is that the game looks fantastic. It's like this cool stylistic first-person shooter that looks like a mixture between like a Rage and a Doom. And like that type of first-person shooter.
Oh, I'm into that. I love how like whenever there's a weird name, there's always like 50% of your brain is like, is this a Warhammer thing? It's like Vermintide. That sounds like a Warhammer thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And people in chat are confirming that. Yeah. So it's Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
Still can tell you the difference between 40K and non-40K.
The robot guys, right?
40K is robots, and the Warhammer, I assume, is just like regular fantasy.
Yeah. If you ever want to know, just think about Blizzard, because Blizzard always steals stuff, right? So Warhammer 40K is StarCraft, and regular Warhammer is Warcraft.
That's fantastic.
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
And then more for housekeeping. Keep your eyes out for our first impressions going up later today on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. That's all I can say about that. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mick at the Nanobiologist, Tom Bach, Trent Berry, and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Doordash, ExpressVPN, and HelloFresh. But I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
Baker's dozen.
I love that, Kevin. I love that. Starting with story number 1, Sony looks set to announce PlayStation Plus Video Pass. I'm pulling from Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. Sony could be set to roll movie content into PlayStation Plus subscriptions, according to images briefly uploaded to its website on Wednesday. A logo for PlayStation Plus Video Pass was published on Sony's official website today, along with the following description on its Polish website, now removed. Quote, "A new benefit available for a limited time on PlayStation Plus, PS Plus Video Pass, is a trial service active April 22nd, 2021 to April 22nd, 2022. The subscription benefit is available to PS Plus users in Poland," end quote. It's not clear if the listing is describing a global or local service, but we've requested clarification from Sony Interactive Entertainment. Last month, Sony announced that the PlayStation Store would stop offering TV and movie content for purchase or rental later this year. From August 31st, 2021, video content will no longer be available via the digital storefront, the company said. However, existing purchases will still be available to access. Crucially, the 3 movies featured in PlayStation.com's now removed website banner, Venom, Bloodshot, and Zombieland, are all produced by Sony's own movie business. Danny, where do you stand on on Sony lumping in video content into PlayStation Plus? Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
It's so funny, right? Because I rent movies very often via a menagerie of digital storefronts, but the one that I have never, ever, ever used is PSN. I think this makes sense from a, oh God, what are they doing with Game Pass? We need to do something type of perspective, right? And it also sort of does bleed into the Sony element of PlayStation, right? Which is that oftentimes there are larger organizational desires that need to be facilitated by some of these other brands, and we often see the movie stuff trickle into the game side over time. Like even the optical drives for the longest time, Sony going for Blu-ray in the last gen, all this sort of stuff, or in PS3 rather. God, I'm getting old. A lot of this stuff is sort of coming from that position. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think them trimming out a lot of the video stuff out of PSN makes sense from a UI perspective, but I was a little bit surprised when they said they were going to do that. And a video pass, like if it's an added buy that is mostly pulling from their own library, that they're not going out and doing these big deals, like I don't think they're in that world, then like I think it makes sense. But like how much value is that really going to add? Like does that add value for you?
No, not really, especially because it does seem like they're very much leaning into the Sony catalog. Like when it comes to movie content, I am very much all in on streaming. I could not tell you the last time I actually bought an actual movie. Usually, if I want to watch a specific movie, it is either already on a streaming service or I'm renting it from Amazon or I'm renting it from YouTube or wherever it's rentable from.
Right.
But actually owning movies is not a thing that really appeals to me anymore. And I would venture to say that a lot of young people are probably in a similar boat of like, why would I want to download a movie or like have a movie to own? Like, why do I want to own Venom?
Have you ever done the thing where like the rent price is like the buy price is like $3 more than the rent price, and you're like, maybe I'll just I'll own a digital copy of Watchmen.
I've had that thought, and the answer for me is always, no, I'm just gonna rent it because I'm not gonna watch it again.
Like I've had the thing where I was like, I fucked up. Yesterday I was like, 2 days ago I watched the Royal Tenenbaums, and it's like I don't own this digitally. I have a DVD somewhere in my garage, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna watch this movie again because I love the Royal Tenenbaums. Great movie.
Right.
Wes Anderson's amazing. So it's like this time I just bought it. I was like, learned my lesson.
And I have had a similar-ish situation where when Kind of Funny was doing Fast and Furious in review, I was listening to that religiously, and it was my first time watching through all the Fast and Furious movies. But I rented each one because they were available for like $4 on YouTube, and I could have bought them, but I was like, you know what, man, I'll just rent each one. It'll be cheaper, and I'm probably not going to watch these movies again. And sure enough, later on, because now I'm a big Fast and Furious fan after watching all the movies, there have been times where I'm like, oh man, it'd be nice if I could just watch Fast and Furious, but I don't own them, and so like it is what it is. But yeah, like this isn't something that necessarily adds value to me, but I do think it is what you mentioned at the start, where this feels like it is PlayStation answering the question of how do we continue to build value, especially in competition to what our competitors are doing with their platforms and their services. And them adding a video pass, I don't think is the end all be all by any means, but I think when you take this, you combine it with PlayStation Play at Home, you combine it with bigger and better games coming out on PlayStation Plus each month. We've talked about it on PS I Love You, where this last month we got Oddworld Soulstorm. Before that, we got Maquette on PS Plus. Before that, like at the start of the PS5, we got Bugsnax. It seems like PlayStation is trying to lead into adding more and more. We got Destruction All Stars also, right? Like in February, they're trying to lead more and more into actually adding value into that PS Plus library. It seems like. I think this is another one where they're like, all right, in the meantime, we have access to these movies because we're Sony. We can put this stuff, bundle this stuff in for free with PS Plus for a year and have it add value for a year while we figure out more initiatives we can do over time. I could see that being the strategy, and I don't think like I think with that mindset, this makes sense.
Yeah, and I also think that like they're frankly not in a position where they can add another subscription service to that console, because you're already looking at PS Plus, PS Now. There's a couple of like third party ones on there as well. I think like at a certain stage, maybe they'll look at like commodifying that stuff a little bit. But it's tricky because like really like at what stage, I don't think they can have a mano fight with Microsoft on that. Like they're just, Microsoft is like doing the sort of almost Epic Games Store style, like we are just going to add so much value to this thing that you can't ignore it. I think like you said, a lot of the strength of PlayStation comes in its original games and the quality of some of those games that they're giving away on a PS Plus. And then also like you said, like Horizon being free at the moment. It's not even just it's the special edition, right? It has all the Frozen Wild stuff in it too. There's no shortage of stuff to play on a PlayStation, and they're not in that fight to try and grab people over. I've been playing a lot of MLB 21 the show this week on my Xbox, of course. That's probably the most I've played my Xbox Series X this month, just because there's been so much good stuff coming out on Sony's console. So I don't think they're in like a dire spot. But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder whether or not they were piloting this in Poland, which often happens, or it was just like somebody screwed up on one of their, European sites.
I think we'll know for sure by tomorrow, probably, since this was supposed to go up tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if this was supposed to be a thing that was global, because I think it lines up. It makes sense. Venom, Bloodshot, in Zombieland as movie choices to start it off, I feel like is a fun selection of movies. Zombieland is dope. Everybody should go watch Zombieland.
Yeah, it's good.
I still haven't seen Venom because I'd not had
nobody
any
watch
to
it.
check it out.
If we give it any support, they'll keep fucking making movies that are terrible, that aren't in the MCU. They're gonna steal our Spider-Man. Fight it, for God's sakes! Fight it!
Hey man, that's San Francisco movie.
This as my excuse. I was gonna use this as my excuse to finally watch Venom, because I love me some Spider-Man. But here's the thing: I've had a few of my friends be like, "Hey man, this Venom movie is actually pretty good. Actually really enjoyed this." And I want to know what those people like. I want to see what they see, right? Because I think there's probably something there that is good that I can appreciate in it. In a Venom movie.
How bad could it be?
I mean, it's terrible. Have you not seen it? Have you not seen it? It's awful. It's god awful. Don't waste your time. Don't watch the sequel.
But he has the long tongue.
Don't watch the Morpheus movie.
It's Tom Hardy.
It's got Tom Hardy speaking in an American accent.
Yeah, and you know what? The next one might have what's his face in it, Spider-Man, because they own him. It sucks.
The next one has the next one has Carnage in it, right? Did they confirm that?
That this at the end.
Or was it a post-credit thing?
I don't want to. Yeah, it's a post-credit
Spoilers
thing.
for Venom, everyone.
I hate it. This is the worst. This is the worst.
Wow, damn.
Did you see some nice San Francisco shots in it at least? Isn't that like?
Yeah, they had a cool one where they made like a fake building in the what is it? The
Coit Tower or something. You like?
No, across from the Golden Gate Bridge, the fairgrounds or no, what is it? That place that's super iconic. It's got a nice view, like literally right across from it. They put up building there.
Like the Marin Headlands?
Yes, that's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay, weird.
Yeah, it looked cool though. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's some guy's like office, but like he's a villain, so it's a cool villain like thing. But it sucks. Walk away.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, you'll like it. I know.
Nobody else watch it.
Nobody else watch it. Blast will like it.
I mean, no, I don't even think I'm gonna like it.
And then he jumped in the water when he was too hot. It was funny. God damn it!
I don't have like crazy movie takes. Like my crazy movie takes are usually that I've not seen Indiana Jones or some shit like that, which I have seen now. I've seen Indiana Jones.
Did you like it?
But aside from that, I don't. Yeah, I liked Indiana Jones. I thought it was really cool.
Which one?
It was really good. Watch the whole series. Indiana Jones 1 through. Wait,
Crystal Skull. No.
Crystal Skull was the one that was bad, but the other ones. 1 through 4. I lost count of how many Indiana Jones movies
I watched.
But the first 3 were dope.
We'll all get there.
The first 3 were dope. Let's talk about story number 2. Xbox free-to-play games are finally free to play. This is from news.xbox.com. Today, and this is, of course, from Xbox, this is their website, and so I'm reading it in their voice. Today, we are sharing some more details on our plans to make online multiplayer and free-to-play games available on Xbox without an Xbox Live Gold membership. As part of listening to your feedback, this change will take place starting today. And all Xbox players will be able to access online multiplayer at no charge for a library of over 50 free-to-play games that support online multiplayer. We did it. Congratulations, everybody. Finally, you can play free-to-play games on Xbox for free.
Hooray! Fortnite, go jump in. You don't need your Xbox Live Gold. This felt like a hangover that took a long time to shake off. Like,
yeah.
It was really odd. I mean, it was odd at the start. It just seems increasingly odder when we consider how much, I don't know, how successful they've been at getting people to sign up to Game Pass. Like, just like let Xbox Live have free to play games. It's not like, they have like in the interim of them, like, of games like Rocket League, which is kind of like the first, one that really made a mark in terms of the console stuff, and obviously Fortnite as well a little bit later. But, in that time, they've had like a massive amount of infrastructure work happening on the server side with the Azure stack and like Microsoft's like. I can't imagine that it's really costing them all that much, you know, given the amount of like crazy corporate server stuff they do to allow, you know, a couple of million kids get their V-Bucks.
Yeah, get their V-Bucks, play some Warframe, you know, play all those different free-to-play games that people flock to. Yeah, I think this is a sign of two things. I think this is this kind of lumps into the ever-changing narrative of Microsoft and Xbox specifically over the last generation of going from the company that everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you putting TV and everything? Like, what the fuck is up with the Xbox One? To now being like, oh wait, no, Xbox is awesome now with the stuff that they're doing. Like or at least they're making the moves to get the gaming audience on their side, whether it be Game Pass, whether it be what they're doing with xCloud. Like there are so many things that Xbox is doing on their side that feel so consumer friendly. And this is another one of those ones where it's like, yeah, this has been a thing that people have brought up over and over again. Why is this an arbitrary thing? Why are you calling these games free to play when they're actually not free to play, right? Like there's nothing that people can actually play for free on your platform, purely for free. And so opening this up for, like kids who cannot convince their parents to buy Xbox games with gold, and anybody else who's just like, I don't necessarily want to pay for Xbox games with gold for whatever reason, letting them still be able to play the games that they might love, like Warframe, Fortnite, and anything else. Is very awesome. And then I think this also falls into the narrative of, hey, Xbox games with gold is probably Xbox Live Gold, I should say, is mattering less to Xbox as a service as they put more and more effort into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And I think you're going to see that tide kind of shift and change as we go through. Like the player count, and this is actually a news story that maybe I should have put right after this news story. You know what? I'm going to copy and paste.
Do it. Mix it up.
Number
Remix.
5. Remixing story number 5, which is now story number 3. Copy that, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Is that Xbox Game Pass seems to have hit 23 million users, 23 million users. And with that being the case, right, games with gold or Xbox Live Gold still has way more users because it's been around longer and it is needed to play online and all this stuff. But I think as Xbox, as you start to try and shift people into Game Pass being the quintessential service to have for our platform, you are going to see that number rise in terms of Xbox Game Pass players. To actually get into the news story proper, though, right? Story number 3 now. This is actually from Jez Corden from Windows Central. They tweeted out this morning. Well, actually, I'm gonna have to set the scene for this one because this comes after a series of events. Yesterday, Jez Corden posted an article, which I'm also making required reading for those listening. The article is called "Comparing Xbox Game Pass to Spotify or Netflix Simply Doesn't Work." It's Jez Corden at Windows Central. And he basically did a whole article talking about how those comparisons don't do justice to the reality of Xbox Game Pass and what it's doing. And in that article, he mentioned how, Xbox had passed the 20 million mark for Xbox Game Pass. Somebody named Special Ed quote tweeted Jez and said, Jez is correct. Game Pass is just over 22 million as of April. And then Jez quote tweeted that and said 23 million as of April 20th.
Well, so 24 million. I'm going to quote tweet that one.
Yeah, it is like an auction. Everybody's like, oh wait, no, Bob, $1. But I do want to read part of this article from Jez Corden.
Sure.
Again, it's our required reading. I got 3 paragraphs from it here, but it is way longer, and I think a must read if you are into Game Pass and the business of it and how it works.
The link will be in the description.
Thank you so much, Kevin Coelho. Again, this is Jez Corden at Windows Central. It goes like this. One of the ways people try to discredit Xbox Game Pass and assume that it, quote, doesn't make money is to point to Netflix, Spotify, and other services that struggle to actually turn a profit. Spotify's losses hit 293 million euros in 2020, while Netflix enjoyed a healthy $2.7 billion net income. Netflix has 204 million subscribers as of writing, and Spotify has 345 million active users, of which 155 million subscribe, with the remainder on a free ad-based model. The last figure we had for Xbox Game Pass was earlier this year, putting the service at 18 million, although I've heard recently that it has crossed the 20 million mark, and again, now it's 23 million according to Jez Corden, and may well be even further over that by now. I've seen some commentators without evidence assume Microsoft is paying more than it's earning for titles to hit Xbox Game Pass. Let's assume conservatively that all Xbox Game Pass users are on the $10 per month tier at 20 million subscribers. That gives Microsoft roughly $200 million per month at least, not including Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, to play around with. Unlike Spotify, Microsoft doesn't pay ongoing royalties for downloads. Every contract is different, but I understand that Xbox Game Pass pays out an upfront lump sum to get the game into the service, with additional benefits negotiated on a per contract basis. Microsoft knows how much it has to spend month over month, giving them a relatively easy spreadsheet to work with when it comes to acquiring content, which forms part of the user acquisition cost, not factoring in marketing. Again, Jez Corden goes on, but I wanted to read that excerpt because I think it paints a pretty good example of, hey, maybe Xbox Game Pass doesn't cost as much as we think to actually sustain for Microsoft and Xbox, which I think is fascinating and plays into the whole thing we're talking about in terms of Xbox games going free to play, or Xbox free to play games actually now being free to play, the shifts and moves that they're making as a company into their platforms. It all works together.
Yeah, and like, outside of whether or not it makes money month over month, like this is part of a writer strategy, right? This is them trying to win back favor with gamers. It's trying to be the one console, which is the way that these early years in new generations tend to operate, is that people do make a choice and they pick one console. Folks who listen and watch Kind of Funny might be more likely to have multiple consoles, but for the most part, you want people in that ecosystem for the first couple of years because they feel invested in it. And if they're there, and leads into the free to play stuff as well, if they're there, then they're spending money there. Like, yes, if they're getting all these, whether or not Microsoft is earning profit off of Game Pass or not, and if that reporting is accurate, then perhaps they are. But I think more importantly, they have people buying their consoles, they have people buying extra controllers, they have people buying games on that system. And when it comes to like games like MLB, for instance, dude, have you played any MLB the show?
Not yet. I'm usually not an MLB person, but I am gonna download it since it's on Game Pass, and I do want to try it out.
And if you do that, then you have more than a few opportunities to then buy DLC or card packs or whatever you want within that game. And it's the same with Fortnite, it's the same with Warframe, and it's the same with Rocket League. So having the people, having the user base, and being able to skim off the top of all those transactions that happen on your store is another part of, the importance, I guess. And Microsoft have always been that company that wanted to be the one box under the television. I think a lot of people assume that they don't want to do that in a post-Magic area. I think they've just figured out a better way of doing it. That instead of trying to be the everything box, they've just made themselves such a deal. Like owning a Series X right now, or owning an Xbox One X, you've access to so much of a library there with these small subscription models. I mean, they're not like a pittance, but considering what you're getting for them, it's quite a lot. And I think they make a good argument for it. And PlayStation, on the other side, has positioned themselves as more of a kind of a luxury thing. It's less of a, you'll get all this when you buy our machine. It's more, you can only play games this good.
Like, but you will get this in this, right? Exactly. It's not everything, but it is like you are getting your Last of Us's and your Spider-Mans and your Uncharted's.
Yeah,
and the games that you can only access on our platform.
And it looks good. Like, look at the two consoles, and you can tell, like, this, in a way, I think this generation benefits both of them in a way that no prior generation ever has, because they have found their own market, and some people overlap into both, but I think both are happy with it. But just look at the form factor of both consoles, and you can tell what they're going for.
Oh yeah, 1000%. Danny, before I get into story number 4, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Of course, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by Doordash. You want Chinese, they want pizza, and someone is craving froyo. There's something for everyone on Doordash. Doordash connects you with the restaurants you love right now and right to your door. And now you can get the grocery essentials you need with Doordash too. Get drinks, snacks, and other household items delivered in under an hour. Ordering is easy. Open the DoorDash app, choose what you want from where you want, and your items will be left safely outside your door with the new contactless delivery drop-off setting. With over 300,000 partners in the US, Puerto Rico, Australia, and now Canada, you can support your neighborhood go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants like Popeyes, Chipotle, and Cheesecake Factory. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code GAMES2021. For our Canadian listeners, use code GAMESCA. That's 25% off up to $10 in value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code GAMES2021 in the US and GAMESCA in Canada. Don't forget, that's code GAMES2021 or GAMESCA for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. We're also brought to you by ExpressVPN. Are you running out of shows to watch? Would you like access to the next upcoming anime or British crime drama? You can use... I love British crime drama being the example because I wrote that, and in my mind, as I was writing that, I was thinking of 2 shows. I was thinking of Luther. Luther being one of my favorite shows of all time.
Right.
Idris Elba kills it in that show.
Absolutely.
And then also I was thinking of a show called The Fall, which was another British crime drama that
Scully.
I loved. Oh my god,
Gillian Anderson's in that.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson. Yep, and dude from, I believe he was from 50 Shades of Grey. I figured that was the same dude.
See the guy who's
that was the same dude.
tying that lady up and
I think
doing stuff to her.
Doing stuff. Yeah,
I've never seen it.
But dude, yeah, The Fall is great. The Fall is great for people who are looking for a British crime drama. It's so good. You can use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. ExpressVPN lets you change your online location so you can control where you want sites to think you're located. Open the app, select a location, tap one button to connect, and refresh the page to access thousands of new shows and movies. Choose from almost 100 different countries, watch Studio Ghibli films on UK Netflix, watch anime on Japanese Netflix, watch Doctor Who on UK Netflix. This works with any streaming service, Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, and more. You can stream in HD, no problem, no buffering or lag. It's compatible with all your devices, phones, laptops, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. Not only does it let you change your location, it also encrypts your data and lets you surf the web safely and anonymously. Go to expressvpn.com/games to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's expressvpn.com/games. We're also brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh offers 25 plus recipes to choose from each week, from vegetarian meals to craft burgers and extra special gourmet options. There's something for everyone to enjoy, with all recipes designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. HelloFresh has a wide variety of easy, delicious options for all 3 meals a day, plus every snack and special treat in between. Kind of Funny loves HelloFresh. Many of us on the team use it. I've used it, and let me tell you, I am not a cook. I am terrible at cooking. HelloFresh made it nice and easy and healthy, which is what I need. Tim Gettys has also used it to make his home cooking nutritional and easy. Go to HelloFresh.com/12games and use code 12games for 12 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/12games with the code 12games for 12 free meals, including free shipping. America's #1 meal kit. I've been trying to keep my eyes on the chat to see if anybody could confirm that the same dude, the murderer from The Fall, was the dude from 50 Shades, but I don't think I got any confirmation. And so I am looking right now, right? The dude from The Fall is Jamie Dornan.
Jamie Dornan.
Yeah.
Sounds like a guy who murders people when he's not tying them up and doing
50
stuff.
Shades of Grey movie. It does sound like that kind of name though, right? I could hear Jamie. Yes, also Jamie Dornan. So it is the same guy. So if you like 50 Shades of Grey, you might like The Fall.
You might.
I think I watched it on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix because I know they took Luther off of Netflix. That angers me because Luther is a show that everybody should have access to.
That's why you should use the VPN. You know.
That's why you should use the VPN.
Doesn't matter.
Access.
You know.
Get your Idris Elba anytime you want, anywhere you want. You can have your DoorDash, and I like the DoorDash and HelloFresh because my wife uses HelloFresh and I use DoorDash.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Kind of shows you where we're at when it comes to our ability to cook food. You know.
Now, have either of you seen Luther? I'm gonna keep on this Luther train.
Yeah, I'm a huge Idris Elba fan.
Oh my god,
I've watched like a bunch of episodes out of sync I've done that thing, like the way I used to watch X-Files, so I didn't have a clue what the story was.
Luther is a show that I love, but also bums me out a little bit because the first 2 to 3 seasons are to me some of my favorite TV I've ever watched. It is intense. Luther, right? Basically, Idris Elba is the detective who he has a shady past, man. Like he doesn't always do things by the book, but he gets the job done. And let me tell you, dude, some intense things happen between like other cops too that are part of his precinct. By season like 4 or 5, they started to lose it a little bit. They had less episodes in a season. I think there was a season that had like 2 episodes in it, and what the fuck is that?
Whoa.
But God, is it a good show? And man, do I want it to come back bigger and stronger than ever because Idris Elba fucking destroys it in that show.
Yeah, perfect show for him too. He grew up in East London, so he's just like that's his world, even if he wasn't a copper.
Enough about TV though. Let's talk about video games. Story number 4. We've got more confirmation that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is being made by Aspyr. This is Jordan Allman at IGN. A remake of the 2003 BioWare RPG Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is reportedly in the works at port studio Aspyr Media. The news was revealed by Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier during an interview with Ben Hansen of MinMax. Quote, "This is public at this point. I've basically confirmed that Aspyr, which is the company that has ported a bunch of KOTOR games, is working on the remake," Schreier said. Eurogamer subsequently backed up that assertion. Did I say that right? Assertion. That's why it doesn't sound right. Assertion, saying that it had also heard of Aspyr's involvement. Quote, "While the developer is known for often releasing straight ports, work is currently underway to make the project more of a remake instead." End quote. Aspyr has recently released a number of Star Wars ports, most recently the PS4 and Switch version of Star Wars Republic Commando.
Not a great port.
No? Were you not feeling that one?
Big frame rate problems on it. Yeah, I've played it on Switch. The last thing I heard, they had tweeted out that they were working on a patch to fix some of the frame rates, but at times it drops to like 15. It's like a 2004, Quake engine first person shooter, so it should run on a Switch pretty handily. Not that I'm, I don't develop games, but they're in. They also did that Stubbs the Zombie remake that came out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and Switch earlier this year.
How do you feel about them possibly doing KOTOR? Does that make you more nervous or more excited?
It makes me a little bit nervous. They're pretty much a solid hand when it comes to the managing and developing of these ports. They often outsource their ports to different studios all around the world. There's a crowd in the UK who I think did the Jedi Academy one that came out. I know they did Star Wars Episode 1 Racer last year.
And I played the hell out of that one.
I think that was in-house. I can't remember. I remember I talked about it on the Bombcast a couple of weeks ago, and I got a couple of emails from people who had actually worked on some of those themselves, saying that Aspyr does some of it, but also some of it gets outsourced. And they're also part of Saber, who got acquired by Embracer Group. So now they're probably part of an even bigger network. But they don't, as far as I know, and not to say that some of these remakes don't require a lot of new work, like especially Stubbs the Zombie seems like it got a pretty good up-resing, but they don't generally work on the type of remake we think of when we talk about remake these days, like Final Fantasy VII, like Demon's Souls. So it seems like something that's maybe a little bit outside of their wheelhouse as it stands. So it gives me a little bit of caution, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder what this is actually going to end up being, because for all the reports we've gotten about it, I feel like there are mixed signals in terms of what exactly this thing is, because this article is saying remake. We've heard before that it's going to be more so of a revival, and people have been pointing toward it being a Knights of the High Republic game. And I mean, either direction I think could be super interesting. And this studio, having worked on plenty of Star Wars projects and specifically porting, puts them in a decent place. But I am them quote unquote remaking a game, which to me speaks to adding new assets, probably tweaking gameplay, doing way more than is required than in a straight port. Them doing all that makes me go, all right, let's see how this pans out. But I am more curious on what exactly are they working on.
Yeah.
Because
I
I know plenty of people would want KOTOR probably.
Yeah, and if they did something like, I know the BioWare, the Mass Effect project appears like that's all in-house at BioWare.
Yeah.
That seems to have been the one project that they've announced over the past 5 years that people have actually like had like positive sentiment around, right? And it sounds like they're not dropping the ball on it either. So like I can see certainly at a business level why they would look back at some of the older games and say, okay, like, you know, let's get some of these out. And also like while KOTOR has been like, you know, I'm trying to think of the last time that there was a reissue or an upgrade or an update for it for modern machines. But I could definitely imagine a scenario where like you port that to Switch, you bring it out on some other. It's just tricky because those games are like more PC focused too. It's not as easy as a Mass Effect, which was, you know, that was BioWare stepping out of the PC world and embracing our new console future, right back in whatever 2000 and, you know, late 2000s or whatever. Yeah, so it's a different one. It's like you, I feel like we need like 2 more sentences on what exactly this is, and it formulates a little bit more of a cohesive, you know, story.
Let's talk about our last news story. Story number 5. Discord has ended deal talks with Microsoft. This is from Sarah E. Needleman and Cara Lombardo at Wall Street Journal. Discord has halted talks to sell itself to potential suitors, including Microsoft, according to people familiar with the matter, as it resumes interest in a potential initial public offering down the line. Microsoft had been in advanced talks to acquire Discord for at least $10 billion, the Wall Street Journal reported last month. Those talks ended without a deal, though it is possible they could be rekindled in the future, some of the people said. Microsoft, whose market value Tuesday stood at nearly $2 trillion, has been on the hunt for acquisitions that would help it reach more consumers. Discord fielded interest from at least 3 companies about a deal, some of the people said. They said Discord is performing well and prefers to stay independent at this time. Out of their grasps.
Yeah, I feel like this is, you know, there's a lot of money being spent right now. There's a lot of acquisition. There's a lot of there was a little bit of a shake in the IPO world like 2 years ago. Some of the tech companies, especially some of the ones that were over here in Oakland, I think there's more confidence in it now, and I imagine this comes down to, you know, at a certain stage these companies need to basically, you know, just the way that, you know, like capitalism works, you need to either get acquired or you know, make good on the value that's in your company by you know, going public. And I think with the place IPOs are in at the moment, and especially Discord, which seems to have a lot of, like, it seems to have that market completely squared off. Like it almost reinvented the market that it's in. Like for some reason we stopped using IRC a long time ago, and then Discord was like, wait, we should bring this back, and no one else is really doing it. Like Ventrilo and all these other companies were doing mostly voice comms, right? Whereas Discord just sort of brought back this thing, and it has the market share, and that's the thing you do before you IPO. Like that's why you have companies like Uber, who maybe don't even make money, but they have the market share, and that's the thing that's valuable, right? Whereas Discord, you know, they kind of have that squared off. So I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar amount that Microsoft were talking about was lower than what they thought if they went public. So they backed off. But yeah, it's you know, a good time to have shares in Discord. I bet they're going to start to,
especially now, right? With how the last year has gone, these services have gotten way more use, and the usership shot up. I know for us, Kind of Funny has put money into Discord Nitro, and like, you know, I'm sure so many other, not even individual users, but companies period, have invested into finding video services. Like we saw Zoom shot up, right? Like Zoom became a common household name for a company because of how the last year has gone, and
it became a verb. It became the word you say. You know, it used to be Skype, now it's Zoom.
And like Discord, like Zoom and Discord are probably the leading companies in that, and it's probably shocking on the Microsoft side. It's shocking that Skype wasn't part of that conversation, really. Like I know Skype still has a lot of users because Skype is Skype, and so it's probably by default installed into your Windows machines. But even with that, somehow Zoom was the one to skyrocket in terms of user base. And so for Microsoft, I'm a little bit surprised that Microsoft didn't seal the deal, just for how I'm sure Microsoft was ravenous to want to get Discord in their pocket, because when you think about that, not only as a video game service and what that could do
Mm.
for Xbox and what that can do in terms of what Xbox does across platform and their PC gaming as well, but when you think of Microsoft just as a company and as a company that has an enterprise of different applications, including something like Skype, think about how Discord come through and basically revolutionize, or revolutionize feels like a strong word, but replace basically what Skype is, and to be able to, as Microsoft, have the app or a leading app in that space could probably be so strong for them. But I think this is pretty good news. Big business consolidation scares me a bit when it comes to we talk about this a lot when it comes to big companies buying video game studios. Microsoft buying Bethesda, Sony buying Insomniac, right? Whenever that happens, it can often be a win for the audience because that means you're either getting exclusive games or bigger and better games or whatever it may be. But then also there's that thing of, all right, so we're getting closer and closer to a future where there are 3 video game companies and that's it, right? It's Microsoft, PlayStation, and Nintendo. And I'm sure Ubisoft will continue to always exist. I'm sure THQ Nordic, in whatever form they are going to continue to exist. But consolidation can be scary because I think you then start to see less and less innovation and individuals being able to shine on their own. And pave their own future and make their own decisions, not feel tethered by a big company, whatever ways that those bigger companies move and shift, having to follow that. And so I think this is good news on that note. But yeah, what a loss for Microsoft in a way, where what future this could have been.
It's funny though, because you wonder, like, where is Discord? Like, Discord has almost intentionally not pushed very hard into the money-making aspects of its business. They had a store for a while, they shelved it. They have Nitro, but they're pretty hands-off with like what they do in terms of monetization. And I think a large part of that has to do with just, you know, how sensitive gamers are to that, to being manipulated and having to pay for access to you know, things that they enjoy, quite frankly. And the difference between Discord and other sort of like applications, as it were, is that Discord also has huge amounts of sentiment, positive sentiment attached to it because of the communities, right? So it's like the attach rate is huge. And I think, you know, it's become one of those apps that you just turn on when you boot your computer, right? Like, it's like you open your web browser and you open up your Discord and you're constantly connected to it. And they haven't found a way really to monetize that quite yet. And text doesn't cost all that much for them to do it, but the amount of video streaming that's going on in that thing, and audio streaming, especially with the low latency, that's got to be a pretty expensive thing to run. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know if anyone has the idea, and there doesn't seem to be a clear pathway to making too much money off Discord. So I wonder if that was part of it at all, or maybe, you know, but it's always so strange, these talks. And also ultimately, like, if they go public, then, you know, they won't have to answer to whatever Microsoft want, but they will have to answer to their shareholders, and the most important thing to them is profits. So you know, out of the frying pan into the fire, they're really there.
A lot of people in chat have been mentioning too that about how much MS Teams sucks as a application,
right?
And yeah, I didn't even think about that, how Discord can probably come through and change how that works and create a better platform for that. I'm very excited to see what the future of Discord and all of what these acquisitions are. I'm very excited to see what that future looks like. But that future, Danny, is just so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
Of course, you would look at, see if I can remember this off the top of my head.
Oh, let's see.
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every day.
Yeah.
I only looked.
You nailed it
twice. I only looked twice.
You nailed it. I mean, it was, the last word is weekday, and you just said day. Yeah. But you nailed it. You nailed it. And it's been what, 3 years since you hosted the show?
Yeah, I fell at the fast. Yeah, exactly. And my brain is now full of, you know, dad knowledge I didn't have before. So it's pushed out a lot of stuff. I can't remember any of the PlayStation 2 games I played. They're gone.
We have no games out today, a rare occurrence. But we do have some new dates for you. Tales of Arise is releasing on September 9th for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, Xbox One, and Steam. And so I know there's a lot of people that are hyped about that, because that one's been one that I think we've been waiting on a release date for a while. And then another exciting one, The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, is coming July 27th to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Steam. So if you're an Ace Attorney fan, boom, there you go. We have a deal of the day for you. This is from Wario64. Fanatical.com is having an insanity sale for PC games. It's a 50 plus. There's 50 plus flash deals over 2 days, with more being added throughout the day. They have deals such as Sherlock Holmes: The Devil's Daughter being available for $1.
$1.
$1, Bob. There you go. That's the second Price is Right reference I made this show.
They have a set of course is there for $16 right now, down from $40. It's all right.
What's up, Kevin?
Oh no, I was just asking if that was 2 games or 1, and it's very clearly 1 game. Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter.
Sherlock Holmes: The Devil's Daughter is one. Sherlock Holmes : The Devil's Dollar.
Sherlock Holmes :
Goddamn. Sherlock Holmes is : and The Devil's Daughter are both available in a bundle. That's $1.
That's banned off Steam, I think.
Yeah, but you can get it on Fanatical right now with their flash sale. Of course, folks can go over to patreon.com/kindafunnygames where they can write in, let us know, or they can write in. They can also get the show ad free. They can also get us their questions, just like Gondor's Condor did. Condor wrote in to say, "Greetings, guys. We have a leaked memo of the RE8 marketing agreement, which suggests that PlayStation forced Konami not only to keep the game off Xbox Game Pass, but to also make the game run worse on Xbox consoles. How do anti-consumer practices like this help Sony? And why focus on them instead of pro-consumer moves? Thanks for all you do, Gondor's Condor." Before we get into this, Danny, have you been keeping up? Do you know exactly what's going on with this leaked document?
No, but the minute I heard about it, I was like, that's made up. There's absolutely no way that's not how this works.
Yeah, and that's pretty much spot on. Like, it's not necessarily like the leaked document is real, and there are quite a few questions that were written into the show about this, which is why I definitely wanted to bring it up, because this has also been an ongoing conversation on social media and stuff. But basically, I'm gonna point everybody to Push Square, where Sammy Barker has an article that's titled, "No, Sony didn't pay for performance parity in Resident Evil Village on PS5 and PS4. It goes like this. Leaked legal documents published online as part of the ongoing Capcom leak have started yet another social media shitstorm, as non-lawyers misunderstand the language and share their interpretations online. A clause in Sony's marketing contract for Resident Evil Village mentions that, quote, each version of the game available on PlayStation platforms must contain content, feature, and technical parity subject to any material platform limitations, with any equivalent version of the game or DLC released on any other competitive platform or PC/mobile platform," end quote. This is the second time in many days that social media has been outraged by a leaked document. This is Push Square. That's not me necessarily. I'm trying to find where it adds more context here. Some people on Twitter and enthusiast forums have taken this to mean that PlayStation is paid to ensure the title performs identically across all platforms, but it's not true. In fact, this is just bog standard legal language that stipulates Capcom can't add exclusive, quote unquote, exclusive features to Resident Evil Village on any other platform if they're not present on the PS5 and PS4, which obviously makes sense given the context of the document, right? Like, the whole idea here is that they have a marketing agreement with PlayStation, meaning that on the PlayStation side, you don't want a direct competitor to be able to say that, hey, we have exclusive content for Resident Evil 8, because as PlayStation, you have that marketing agreement.
Yeah, and like, also, sorry, I've read the format, the 1.4 section of this contract as well before. The other thing about contracts is that they're often protecting against things that like probably won't happen and are nothing to do with what you're like. There's an element of confirmation bias that goes on here, where a lot of gamers, especially when it comes to the business side, don't really know anything about how this stuff works, or know like very little, or the most sort of extreme examples of when these things go wrong because they become stories. Contracts are immeasurably boring and tedious, and are generally against like things that you probably don't want to happen in some weird aspect. So when I read this paragraph, to me what that reads is they want to make sure that like there isn't a mode, or like, and by mode I mean like an option on a game, on like an option screen, or a way in which it interacts, or like that they totally bum the PlayStation version over the Xbox. Like, it's just like general making sure that like everything is above board. It's not like some sneaky language to trap them into not doing a thing. Like when people are making games and making business together, they generally all want everyone to be cool and happy and making their best work. They're not trying to like trap people in these scenarios. I mean, they are when it comes to like the money side for sure, but like when I read that just looks like boilerplate contract stuff to make sure that it's to protect them who are rather than to impinge on the development.
Yeah, exactly. Like the difference is that like this is not this document isn't saying make this game look worse on Xbox or don't make this game look as best on other platforms as it can look. It is basically saying, hey, we have the marketing agreement, and so if you are going to have extra features or nuts and bolts or whatever, like we also get that. And in return, you do get like marketing that is PlayStation specific. We push your game more. Like if you remember watching the Resident Evil 8 Village stream that they had last week, in the middle of it, they're like, "Hey, let's talk to some people in the games industry who love Resident Evil or whatever." And it was all PlayStation people. I think it was Shaban from Media Molecule. It was Shuhei Yoshida. It was people from PlayStation because that marketing agreement is in place that they're going to partner in order to push this game.
Right.
But yeah, this isn't necessarily anything nefarious, I'd say. Now it is time to squad up. That's where you write in. Let us know the games you're playing. We'll connect you with people in the community. Corey Scott writes in with a squad up in World of Warcraft on PC. Corey writes this. I want to find a small group of best friends who would like to just level up some tunes in WoW Classic. I don't know what tunes are. I'm not looking to raid, just a quest in dungeon together on a semi-consistent basis. Hit me up on the Discord with the username Corey # or hashtag, whatever you want to call it, 9432. That is Corey, hashtag 9432. And we can try to get a group together and find a schedule. Again,
dude,
Corey.
I'm trying to figure out how have I not, like, I play a lot of World of Warcraft. I do not know what this term tune is, but it's popping up all over the place here.
I would like to level up some tunes.
Someone in the chat know what tunes? Is that just mean like low level character?
What is a tune?
Tunes means characters, is what people are saying.
Does it? I've never heard tunes. What's it short for? It must be like a.
They're all acting like they're all like, oh, come on, come on. Guys,
yeah, everybody in chat is like, how do they not know what tunes are? I've never heard this. This is like a Mandela effect thing, where I'm like, I've never heard anybody mention tune. When I read tune, the thing that came to mind was the game back in the day, Toontown. That was like an online MMO. Right. That's what came to mind, and I was like, oh wait, is that game still alive? Is this actually not WoW? Is he playing Toontown? I want to level up some tunes.
Apparently, it doesn't look like it's that common. I don't know. Yeah, according to Wiki, it comes from cartoon, which seems maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. Maybe it's like
dumb. You kids are dumb. Grow up. Let's call them characters. Let's get some sheets. Write some notes down about them, huh?
I love chat so much.
Me too.
Chat is great because I love chat because chat goes off about the most random shit, and I can kind of tell that they're joking and having fun. But then part of me is like, I know there are a few people in there who are dead serious.
I love that Barrett isn't there. It's calling me dumb. All right, Barrett. I'm against you.
Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong. That's where you write in and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. And let's see here.
This is great because I've not been on in 3 years, so I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do with me this time.
The nanobiologist writes in and says, "Bless, the Zombieland movie is the sequel, Double Tap, which is subjectively way worse than the original."
Not nearly as good.
I liked Double Tap. I thought Double Tap was
good. You see what I mean? You got terrible takes in movies, and I don't want to bring it up, but now we're talking about it.
Here's the thing.
Maybe he'll like Venom then.
If you listen at the end,
this ain't me saying Double Tap is better than the first one. I'm just saying I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed myself. I thought that movie was cool. I don't know.
I also thought it had moments. There's one character they introduced.
The blonde girl?
Yeah, where it was like, why would you make this a character? Like, this just seems offensive to all women.
Yeah, but like what they did with her was great though,
No, I don't.
No? Okay.
Should I see Double Tap?
Yeah, you should give Double Tap a chance.
Yeah, I'd say give it a chance.
Remember, it's not great, and it's just like, if you wanted just a little bit more from that world, there it is. You get it.
People are writing in with wow, holy cow! Somebody wrote in with a whole Wikipedia article about tunes. I'm not reading that.
Oh shit! Are we the dumb ones?
I'm not reading all that.
Are we the dumb ones?
I'm not reading all that. Listen,
I
want to know
right.
I'm happy for you, or I'm sorry that happened.
That's a generational thing, or it's a North American thing. I've never, I have thousands of hours in World of Warcraft, and I've never once heard anyone refer to it. I don't know. Maybe I just don't play it enough people. Maybe my tunes aren't good enough.
I think that's it for kindoffunny.com/. You're wrong. We killed it.
There you go.
Did not have much wrong. There's a lot of people having fun talking about tunes, giving us some editorialization and some fun tidbits, but nothing that was actually wrong. And so, again, we killed it. We're the news masters. Let's unite again someday. Me and you, Daniel Dwyer.
Exactly. Yeah. The tunes thing, we'll just ignore that.
Tomorrow's hosts for the show are going to be Tim and Fran Mirabella. If you're watching this live on Twitch, after this is Mike and Kevin doing a PowerPoint presentation on woodperks. What the wait?
Woodpeckers.
Woodpeckers. Why'd you write woodperks?
I guess there was a typo. It's hard to type when people are yelling into your ear.
Is woodpeckers like is that prison lingo for something or
no?
Yeah, what's going on with this PowerPoint?
The bird. We're doing a PowerPoint on birds, and then I'm going to teach you guys how I stream. So
okay. That sounds like a fun one. Check that out live right after this, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and that'll go up. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, I got to see what that's about. If you're one of those people, youtube.com/kindoffunnyplays. Before I sign off, Danny, thank you again for joining me. This has been a very fun episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily. It's been an honor to host with you also. Like I said earlier,
honor's
I've been
mine.
a big fan of your work for a long time.
The honor's mine, dude. A long time watching your stuff, and also cool to have Kevin screaming in my ear again. I missed it so much.
Isn't it great?
I'm sorry.
Isn't it awesome?
All I need now is Andy complaining that I'm drinking a morning soda, and my Kind of Funny Games Daily nostalgia is complete.
Are you still on the morning soda?
I'm always.
Wait, you do morning soda?
Oh man, I'm always.
Don't judge
morning
him.
soda.
Don't judge
you're a madman.
Soda.
You're a madman.
Yeah.
What's something that people should check out at Noclip?
I liked our documentary on Flight Simulator that we did last year. That was one of my favorite ones during quarantine. If you like Microsoft Flight Sim, I think if you don't even play that game, it's an interesting look into how they built that crazy world. That's a cool one.
Everybody go check that out, youtube.com/noclip. Watch the Flight Simulator doc. Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday, live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. So stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, game daily.